tonight's episode of the Gamecasters, Natalie and I talk to Dean and ErinRose from Likely Story Productions about their show, Meeple People. Stay tuned. Hello there, gamers, and welcome to a very special half episode of the Gamecasters. Natalie and I had the incredible privilege of interviewing Dean and ErinRose, co-creators of the fantastic new YouTube board game series Meeple People. And it's a show that examines the relationships between a group of gamers at a game night of theirs. It's incredibly well written, well acted, well put together, and I really hope after you hear this interview that you go out and binge the whole damn thing. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Hi there, gamers. We're here with Dean and ErinRose, co-creators of the great, hilarious new YouTube series, Meeple People. We are both huge fans of the show, Natalie and I. I've watched it 4 times now, actually. And we have a lot of questions for you guys and just can't wait to hear what you have to say. So, first of all, if you could tell us a little bit about yourselves, like how you guys met, what your background is with gaming, what your background is with media production, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I met Dean when he actually cast me in a show a few years ago. And Dean does this wonderful thing every year in LA where he writes a bunch of short plays and he directs them. And I happened to audition for him. And then I never do this, but like I actually, after the audition, I sent him a message on Facebook. And I was like, hey, like, I don't know, like if you don't cast me, like that's fine. But I just wanted to say that like I loved your writing and it was just like a pleasure to meet you and blah, 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 blah. And he ended up casting me, which was like awesome, which is like,
well, we were all so excited when she auditioned because we were like, we gotta put her in one of these plays. Yeah. And I remember, I think ErinRose, you auditioned for like 3 or 4 different roles.
Yeah, you kept like bringing you back in during callbacks where you're like, could you just wait a second and come back for this other thing? Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we met that way and then we ended up working together and then, I had written some stuff in the past and shot some things and same with Dean and, I was looking to collaborate with someone else and, and I was like, I love Dean's writing and I loved working with him on the show. So I was like, Dean, let's please work together. Let's please do something together. And I was able to persuade him and then we just had to start thinking about like what we wanted to do. So he invited me to a game night and I basically was like, this is what we need to do because it was just like such an eclectic mix of characters. And I like very naively had thought that I knew about board games because like, I had played Monopoly at that point. And
right.
I was like, I love being the banker. So like, of course I will love your board game night. And he's like, like very polite, but very welcoming. He's like, you're going to learn so many new games. It'll be so much fun. And so I went with my now husband at the time and we had fun, but like, yeah, we both were a little bit like, wow, this is a lot, and so, but it was fun to see all the characters. And so, then Dean and I decided to write about it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So your first game night inspired you to write the series.
Yeah.
What kind of games did you play that first night? Like, what did they use as like a gateway game for you?
I played Dominion, and there was another game that we played that I really liked that had like these gemstones. What was that, Dean? I can't remember what it was.
Oh, wow. I wonder what that was.
Maybe Ascension? Was it another deck builder?
No, it wasn't Ascension. It had little gems.
Thought so. I thought they were like little, like maybe it was gems on the cards. I don't remember. But
was it Splendor?
Oh, maybe Splendor.
Yes, it was Splendor.
Oh, that was my first game.
Okay, great.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh, this double date is going great.
Hitting it off.
Yes, exactly.
So it was like, but it was like so fun. It was so fun, and I feel like there were a couple other ones that we played that night. Dean, you probably have a better memory of it than I do.
Absolutely. Well, we always like to do a mix of strategy and party games.
Oh, right.
I've been running this thing for years, since like 2004. I started
game group?
hosting
Wow.
Oh,
them.
cool.
First gen.
We have that in my game night. We call it different waves, wave 1, wave 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
like
that's
we're on like wave 15 now, or 16. Because every year I like to try to find a few more regulars to join the group. You know, and then once we get like 2 or 3 new ones, we sort of cut it off and like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. Do people like drop out?
Well, what happens is people move. Like recently, in the last couple of years, we've had a lot of regulars move out of Los Angeles. So
That's sad.
we need to refill the coffers. We need to.
Yeah, you need that perfect number of gamers.
That's right. We need more workers. Recruit more workers.
Right.
Right, exactly. Got to get the resources to do that first. So, did you guys, ErinRose? So you had the idea after that game night, and you mentioned a lot of the personalities at the game night. Did those personalities at that game night that you went to inspire some of the characters on Meeple People?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, like the one that really stood out for me was the guy who we actually based Nick on, right?
Oh, Nick guy?
Yeah, like
one of our favorites.
That is like a very real person in real life. Like even more to an extreme where like I definitely had one of those like, oh boy moments, you know, where during that first game night, I think when they were ordering food and he was just like very adamant about how they were going to order the food, you know.
Was he as vulgar as Nick?
He's one of the ones that moved to Austin. He and his girlfriend Sarah, instead of Tara, it's Sarah.
That's funny.
And it was very common for her during game nights to, fall asleep.
She didn't play a lot of the games.
Yeah, she would play a few here and there, but then she just could only tolerate it so much.
Right.
So who wrote the line? Because this is one of the funniest parts for me in the entire show that I remember laughing out loud really hard at during the show was when you guys were playing Time's Up, and and Nick and Scott were going to pick teams, and they Rochambeau'd for it, and Scott won and picked Sue, and then Nick let the expletives fly.
Yeah.
That was like the funniest part of the entire thing at the beginning for me.
Oh, good.
Oh,
yeah,
good. Yeah.
We
love
love
that
sharing.
Yeah. That is some great stuff.
Let me tell you, we've had, in fact, the guy that Nick is based on, his name is Ninad.
Okay.
He actually once made a woman cry because he made it such a big deal about picking teams for Time's Up. And she got picked last, but he made her kind of feel bad about, like, no, we're not going to pick you. It made her feel so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That actress, that woman is actually the actress Tess.
Oh, right.
Tara.
I forgot about
Oh,
that.
really?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
Yes.
That's so sad because she's so sweet.
I know.
She's so sweet,
she's
but
very sweet in real life, too.
he has a way. She's normally very, tough and stuff.
Yeah.
She's not normally,
Sure.
but he just made her feel really bad for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I like a lot that, like what you're saying about these stories that you kind of featured on the show are rooted in realistic, real life scenarios that actually happen to you guys. So it's not just like, hey, we're going to make this archetype, because know there's the dweeb, we know there's the jerk, you actually experience that. So that makes it a lot.
It's like more authentic.
Cooler. Yeah, a lot more authentic.
Yeah. I think that was like something that was fun for us, is that we did create characters based off of people that we knew, but then also because we knew so much of the cast, that we wanted to include in the show, we were also able to kind of craft characters around their strengths and their personalities and stuff like that. Like Rebecca, Dean had known forever, and she played Sue, and we just love Sue. We just love her. She's just like so much fun, and we wanted to write like a certain character, and we just knew she could nail it. And so that was also really fun. Like with how we decided like what kind of characters to include in the show.
Yeah. Jonathan Bray, who plays Brad, we wrote that specifically for him.
Yeah.
He steals the whole thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. He plays it perfectly.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Natalie, who plays Natalie, played by Natalie.
Yep. Natalie.
Who you might have seen in like she's all over TV now. She's like on all these Flow commercials. Right.
Oh, really?
Wow. You know what? Out of all of the characters, I thought she looked the most familiar. I wonder if that's Why?
Yeah, I think you're just saying that because your name
No,
is Natalie.
I really.
You just really want it.
She's done. She's always with Flo in those insurance commercials.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay,
That's
well that's
awesome.
good.
And then she's like Buttercup on Powerpuff Girls, which you wouldn't see her at, but she's the voice of Buttercup.
Yeah, she seems like she has that distinctive voice.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of the cast because they did, and I'm sure that you guys inspired this as well. Their AMAs they did on Instagram. I watched a lot of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah, those were great. They were so cool. I think I asked a few questions to those guys, and it was actually really interesting. All of them were interesting, but Bogdan's especially, and I'm sorry, I'm not using their real names. I don't know their real name. But Bogdan, obviously I don't think that's his real accent, but when you hear him on the Instagram AMA, he's just seems like a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
He is a superb actor. He's he does a lot in the theater, and he gets a lot of accolades. He's super good.
I mean, he just played the title character of Oppenheimer in a big show in LA, which is great.
So you guys, I think what sets your show apart from a lot of the just kind of board game media content that you see out there now is one, the quality that you have of the writing, the actors. The acting is impeccable, and the production values. It kind of blew me away when I first saw it. Natalie and I, before we even started, we were kind of, had this like nervous energy to talk to you guys because it just seems like such a big, I don't know. I'm really excited about the way the show is and, what it means and what it can mean for the board gaming community in general. So I think we're both really excited about that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
But another thing that sets it apart is, the length of each episode.
Mm-hmm.
What was the story behind that? I gotta tell you. At the beginning, I was like, every time. I kind of binged it.
Yeah.
So I came in when I think you were on episode like 14 because you released them was it once a week or was it once?
We were doing like two or three a week.
Yeah. Okay. So it was every other day or something.
Yeah.
So I came in at it. I think I found it about episode maybe 13 or 14. So I was lucky to have been able to binge up to that point. But I gotta tell you, it was frustrating. I was like, oh my God, I want to see what happens with,
and you only get like a couple minutes.
Brad and Carter. I want to watch him explode as a popcorn kernel some more.
Well, I have to say that I'm sorry that you were frustrated, but I love the fact that you wanted more.
Oh, that was where all the frustration was rooted. Just so you know, I was just like,
But I think
like a new episode came out. Oh, it's over before I even clicked play. So
I think that from my end, I had done a web series years and years ago that we had made the episode length really long. Like we had made them like 7 to 10 minutes, and they were too long.
Yeah.
And so, and then when we were watching, some web series recently, we were like, well, like the sweet spot just seems to be like that 3 to 5 minute length, unless we want to go for like kind of like that high maintenance thing and do like a 10 to 20 minute episode or whatever that we could break it into. And I think we were just like, well, where are the good breaking points in the story and what makes sense? And, maybe if we do them, kind of more just like shorter content, like it might intrigue people. So if one feels, good to someone, like they'll keep going in different spots. So they might not pick it up right at the beginning. They might pick it up in the middle, so we wanted to encourage as much watching as we could.
So it turned out, just from the response we were getting, like there was like half the people sort of appreciated it. Yeah. And then half the people were like, what are you doing? Yelling at us.
Well, honestly, and this is going to sound like I'm just a shill to you right now, but I think a lot of the reason people might have been saying that is because of what I mentioned earlier. These production values, the acting, the writing is also good. It's not just annoying that it's only, a couple minutes long. It's more like I don't want to keep this. I want this to keep going. I don't want to stop. I don't want to have to wait another, couple days for another couple minutes. Like I want an hour of just Brad. I want an hour of just Sue,
Well, that's like the world we live in now. We all want it now.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I love it's fantastic. Have you guys seen Board with Life? That's another one that's got pretty high production values and is very funny.
Yep, we did. And I think we were literally we were maybe going to shoot like the next week. I mean, it was something crazy like that where we were like, oh, there's another show.
Yeah, we thought we would be the first. We didn't know that there was this.
We were like, and we're like, wow, it's really good. And
Yeah.
we're like, well, we're shooting anyway. We've written it. What are you gonna do?
Well, there's room for more.
Oh yeah, what you guys do is very different.
It's a very different tone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's heavy metal and rap. They're both great. It's just they're just different. I think So I don't know. I love it. So for anybody listening that doesn't know, ErinRose actually plays Emily in the show. So did you, obviously, Dean, were you just kind of like, I want you to play this Emily, or Emily, were you like, I want to be the lead in this? Like, how did that work?
I wanted her to be more of an extra, maybe one line. But she was like, Dean.
We wrote it. He was like, forget it, lady. You've got no business.
We wrote it specifically a character so that for her.
Yeah. Well, after your story about your first game night, it sounds like you were like re-experiencing it through the show.
Yeah, some of it was. Yeah, some of it was. Yeah. But so I think, like when I've written in the past, I've always written a part for myself because I love acting also. And so it just felt like a good opportunity to do both.
Are you guys the only writers on the show? Was it just you two?
Yep.
That's great. How was that process? Was there a lot of collaboration, or, did you guys have arguments about any of that kind of stuff, or how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, we wrote everything together. So we were in the same room writing everything together.
Yeah.
We take turns writing or typing and, like saying things out loud and we
would make each other laugh. Like our favorite scenes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The ones that we would read to each other out loud and laugh our asses off, then those were the scenes that maybe weren't the most popular later. And but we thought they were so funny,
So funny. Yeah.
Well, let's hear an example. What scene did you guys love so much that you didn't think hit as much as well?
I mean, honestly, it was the muffin scene.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
Okay, right. I think what's so funny about the muffin scene is that scene in the writing process, I mean, we could not stop laughing when we were writing that scene. And, we would go back and forth and we'd be like, no, you be Brad this time, like we would do it. So like sometimes Dean's actually playing me, and it's like, it's so fun. But then I think when we saw it, we're like, is this still funny? Is it still as funny as we thought it was? So
when we shot it, it's, you live and you learn because we think we're happy with the way it is now, but it was much longer. Like the scene was twice as long as it is now.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is, "We all know your muffins."
Yeah. And then he's like, Emily, your turn. Like,
yeah.
Did you guys have the characters already cast when you wrote it? So when you were writing that muffin scene, were you picturing the Brad actor?
Yes, because we already knew that it would be Jonathan, but we didn't know everybody else yet. We knew maybe half the cast. Because we were writing for like half the people. And then the other people, we were just hoping we would get good people. Like Ted, he was a great find. We wrote this sort of silent character hoping that we would find somebody who would be able to do justice and just really nail it with his face. He steals the show a lot of times, for us. Like we love.
And he did his AMA that same way.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was hilarious. So were there actors that you didn't know?
Yes. I mean, we didn't know Nelson when we we had written the part for Ted, and then we auditioned a bunch of people, and that's how we found him. Aaron, Alicia, in real life, he auditioned for the show. We had so many auditions for the role of Aaron. We, thought about going so many different ways with that part. And so that, we were excited about finding him. He had come to us through our casting director, who had seen him in a few other projects online. And she was like, I just think you should read him. Like, I really, think he would be good for this part. So it was great. And then who else was new to the fold? James?
Bogdan. James, who plays Bogdan. He was a good find. And that's probably it. I think we know everybody else.
Nelson, who plays Ted. But the fun thing that I want to say about Nelson/Ted is that when he came in to audition for us, I was a fangirl because Nelson was in this web series that Jenny Slate starred in. And I don't know if you guys know who Jenny Slate is. Yeah. But she did this thing called Catherine, which just cracked me up. And Nelson had this small part in that. And when he came into audition for us, I was like, oh my gosh, can we please cast him?
So your biases came in and you were like, all right, we're casting this guy. That's so funny.
A question I want to know was how long it took you to film this.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do it all like together in one shot
Just-
kind of thing?
Yeah, all in one block of maybe a total of a little under 2 weeks.
Okay.
Or was it 6 days? I don't remember. Was it one afternoon? What was it, Erin?
Yeah, it was 1 hour. We did it live. No.
I listened to you guys. You guys were on the Victory Point podcast with Becca Scott back when that was still a show. And I listened to you guys on there. And I thought you mentioned something about Erin's apartment. I'm doing quotes here. Was that Erin Rose's apartment?
It was. Yeah.
You just kind of you had to have like the games and the shelves like shipped in. Is that because
games came from me? Those are all my games.
They're your games,
God,
yeah.
that's cool.
Although the collection has changed dramatically since then. But yes, that's my collection. I had to ship it over in like 2 carloads or
it
something.
was a lot of back and forth.
Was your place, Dean? Was it not good for shooting? Was it like the lighting was perfect in Erin Rose's place?
Had the best sort of more open space for filming and higher ceilings, and just she was more willing to have things broken and marred and scarred. No, I would have happily shot here, but yeah, she had just a better space.
And then we painted some walls and before we shot too, which was just
Really?
like kind of prepping. Yep.
Well, it's kind of perfect because then you get renovations for free.
For free.
Well,
Just paint my walls while you're doing it. If you want to shoot
my
here.
husband did the painting, but yes.
You're gonna have to buy me a new couch if you want to pay
You and your husband do it.
Yeah, right. Your husband does it. So you guys, I have to ask now about. I'm sure you've answered this question 1,000 times, but we have to talk about Phuket.
Okay.
You obviously created that game for the series, and when I first watched it, I was like, I got like really snobby. I was like, how have I not heard of Phuket? This is ridiculous. I've been a board gamer for over a decade. Like I know every game out there. What is this? How do I not know this? Who was the brainchild behind Phuket? Obviously, I'm not the only one that's pronounced it the other way.
Well, here's the thing with Phuket.
Yeah,
we because in the through line for Scott, played by Josh Sussman, he needed to have there needed to be a rule that he felt was broken, right?
Yeah,
in order for that whole story to play through.
Oh,
we didn't want to rank on some real game, right? So we created Phuket, and we found a guy who lives in Greece who actually does artwork for board games. Yeah. I cannot think of which games he's done artwork for this moment.
Wow.
But we found him, and he was more than happy to help us, and he designed the artwork for us. We came up with the name and sort of the concept of it. And we think it would be fun if there were fans out there who wanted to like start coming up with the rules, like.
Oh my gosh, I've thought about it 100 times. I've thought about it so many times.
You have?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, because they kind of give little sprinkles of what it could be. Like they have this Chow Fa road, and then if you block it, then it's cock blocks the fish market. And, exactly. And the tuk-tuks and all that kind of stuff. So have either of you guys, well, I guess this might be more for Dean, have you ever thought about designing your own game?
I've tried on several occasions in the past to create my own game, and I've gained so much more respect for the game designers who do it because it is not easy.
Yeah.
It is an art in and of itself, and it's just so difficult.
I hear you there. I've been working on a few designs myself. One that's a little further along in development, I would say, but I've been working on it for about 3 years. I think of these designers like Alexander Pfister or Stefan Feld, who comes out with multiple games a year, and each of these games are, I don't know, worlds beyond anything my feeble brain could ever invent.
Oh yeah, Stefan Feld, who is one of my favorite designers.
Sure,
you're cranking them out.
Right. Yeah, 2 in a year, and they're always like the greatest thing ever. It's crazy. It is crazy. Back to the writing for just a sec. Was there any ad-libbing done by any of the actors, or was it all like how did that kind of stuff work out?
Yes, we wanted to play to the strengths of the actors who did have some improv background, specifically Rebecca Lumiansky, who plays Sue. She is sort of an improv genius.
Sure.
In her background, and she and Tess, who turned out to be great with improv, that whole scene in the kitchen,
Sarah.
like in the script, it's just like maybe a few lines, and like I gave them some parameters, and I was like, you guys just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, what you want to do, and they were so brilliant.
That's so fantastic. The best line is just Tess is talking about something I can't remember, and Sue's just like, "That's terrible news."
Right.
Terrible.
That's such a Rebecca.
I have a
thing.
cousin who lives in Cleveland.
Terrible news.
Yeah, that's so
You live
funny.
in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right. Just like
And then the other
Yeah,
kitchen,
no board games.
which is Jonathan Bray and Alicia, who play Brad and Aaron. There's the scene in the kitchen where they're discussing Emily. It's
right,
early.
circling the airport.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that whole airport
right.
thing was all them, man.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like that was all them. And I have a lot more of it too. We just had to make the scene short, but there's this whole airport thing. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Did all the actors get along? Did they all end up liking each other, and did they have a good time with it? More that you could tell.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Josh and Nick actually, the guy who played Nick, Pritesh, actually became really good friends after the show.
That's
Josh
awesome.
plays
I mean,
Scott.
like we would always like see them on Instagram together, and we're like,
Really?
oh,
You're like, we did
Oh, they're
that.
hanging out.
We did that. That's us.
Yeah, we set that up.
Yeah.
So you guys, when are we going to get a season 2?
oh my gosh, we would love to do a season 2. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
Are
would
there
love
any
to do one.
plans? There's got to be something.
Just some
I
ideas.
mean, so Dean and I actually have written probably like 7. We have like outlines for 7 seasons.
Oh, wow.
To do it, but yeah, we have to find some funding and do it. So that's what we would love to do at some point.
Sure.
We wanted to give the show a chance to get some legs, get some views, and we're still on that trek of getting more and more subscribers and views. We feel like there's still a large part of the board game community who still don't know about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that there's enough people that would want the season 2, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But there's some little surprise coming here in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
Really?
can you give us anything?
It's a little bit of a bonus, brand new, funny little episode.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
a little funny
cool.
little episode. You heard it here
So
first.
be on the lookout in 2 weeks.
And
Yeah.
something like that. It involves some of our cast members as the characters,
Oh
and it
my
involves somebody from the board game community
Oh my god, I hope it's me. Is it
Oh my
me?
gosh.
who just you'll see.
Uh-oh.
That's exciting news. Oh, cool.
No, I can't wait. That's
you have a couple
great.
people here who are really excited for season 2.
Yeah, we are huge
And 3
fans.
and 4 and 5 and
We
6
are
and 7.
huge fans. You guys.
Oh, cool. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
And we will definitely do our part to help spread the word, because
Yes,
I think everybody
absolutely.
should see this.
Anyone who
Again.
plays games, they
Or
can relate
doesn't.
to it. They'll think it's funny. They'll think it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really love. Are you guys working on any other projects at the moment? Do you or
Well, we
Yes.
did. So after we shot this one, we shot another project, which was a pilot that we wrote also, that stars a TV pilot that stars Rebecca Lumiansky, who plays Sue,
okay?
and Nelson, our new favorite actor who played Ted in Meeple People, has a small role in it too. We brought him back because we have to bring Nelson to our
Sure.
project.
Right, of course.
So we shot another show called Season and Renee that we're pitching right now. So
Wow,
That's
really
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a chance we'll see those at some point. Nothing else on YouTube though.
Yeah, just the Meeple People stuff.
Awesome.
There's a short on there. I believe it's still up there that we
maybe
did.
take it down.
That stars. Oh, we took it down.
We did, so as not to confuse
Right.
the Meeple People audience.
They never.
Yeah.
It was there.
Oh.
It was there. We
It
might
was
put it back
there.
up again.
Well, it's something something that based on one of my plays and starring ErinRose and somebody else,
Yep.
and it's even got Nelson in it.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
Gosh, it does have
Nelson's
Nelson.
everywhere.
I've heard this Nelson is a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
And it's really for fans of Survivor. If anybody loves Survivor,
Oh,
they-
Oh,
very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. So, okay, my favorite character is Brad. I think, Natalie, you said your favorite character is Sue. Is that right?
Yeah.
What
Yes.
do you guys have inherent favorite characters?
Yeah, I mean, I love Sue and Tara. I think
Just them together.
Yeah, just them together was
we,
like
we,
so much
we would
fun.
love to just see them go off and do stuff
Yeah.
for like an
We
hour.
We need a spin-off.
Yeah,
We gotta start a
exactly.
spin-off.
Right.
We want to see what happens when they go to the convention.
Yes,
Exactly.
Comic-Con. We gotta see the
We
Comic-Con.
got to see that weekend.
It's just gonna be it's like the Odd Couple is basically what it's gonna be like.
It's so funny. I've been in that situation where like I just want to be playing the board games and there's other girls who like aren't into board games, and so they just assume that I'm like them, and they're like, oh, well, you'd rather be doing these other things that we want to do. And I'm like, actually, I don't really want to. I'd rather play the games.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to say this.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Funny.
That's so funny. Well, we are so excited that you guys took the time to speak with us. I would love to give you a chance if you wanted to plug your YouTube series yourselves, and then we are going to do our damnedest to share it with everybody we can.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so if people want to check out Meeple People, it's on YouTube. Just Google Meeple People Comedy and you'll find it. And production companies Likely Story Production, so you'd find it there. And we would love for people to check it out and subscribe. And, there are a couple fun things that we're dropping along the way too, even though the series released. We've been dropping some little fun game tips that we shot as well. So we'd love for people to subscribe and take a look.
And that we have an Instagram account at Meeple.
Oh, yeah.
Comedy.
Meeple People Comedy too.
And we have daily posts there every other day.
Do you have the AMAs on your story on your Instagram that people can still look at?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I encourage everybody to go check out those AMAs. You can, after you watch the series, you can learn more about who these actors are as people, and they're all super fascinating and amazing people. And Dean and ErinRose, you are not excluded from that. We think you guys are great. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. It's been
Oh my
great
gosh. Thank
talking
you
to
so
guys.
much.
You guys are great. I wish you
Yeah.
the best with your podcast.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. We have some things, hopefully, that we're going to be there's exciting things coming down the road for us, too. So this is just great. So thanks, guys. I cannot wait to see season 2. In the meantime, I'm going to watch season 1 about 8 more times
Right.
because it's so funny.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
yeah, it was awesome, guys. So thank you so much. And hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So there you have it, a little insight into the minds of two incredibly talented and creative people. It was such a pleasure talking with them, and hopefully it was as fun to listen to as it was to record. You can find the Meeple People on YouTube and Instagram by searching Meeple People, if you can believe that. And please tell your friends, because the best way to get more content from them is to get them more exposure. And that can really only happen if you watch, like, and subscribe. So, until next time, I'm Ryan, and you have been listening to The Gamecasters. Good night, everybody.